Well, Property Tribes is delighted to introduce you to a new fin and prop tech application, very much in keeping with our digital first approach here at Property Tribes, and it's Hammock who are joining us as a sponsor. So I'm very, very pleased to welcome James from Hammock. James works in business development. And James, great to welcome Hammock on board at Property Tribes. We followed your progress and progression over the last few months. I'm very excited what you're doing at Hammock, so welcome. And really, just to start, what is Hammock and who's it for?
Well, thanks, Vanessa. Yeah, we're really excited by this partnership as well. What is Hammock? So Hammock is the UK's first current account that is designed specifically for landlords, built by landlords. What we're trying to do is use technology to replace the need for like a manual spreadsheet. Because Hammock has levels of automation, it just makes your life so much easier. So instead of having to update your spreadsheet to say this rent's been paid, this person hasn't, because we can track your transactions for you, we flip that on its head and we tell you when your rent's been paid, or we tell you when your rent's missing, and it's almost like having like a little assistant kind of taking care of your property finances. This is something that you can manage, from your phone, on the go, from anywhere, which just makes it all much easier. And basically, we just want to give you the tools as a landlord to kind of rethink the way that you deal with your property banking, your bookkeeping, and then ultimately your tax return.
Well, fantastic. And I think the timing for Hammock, COVID-19, it has really accelerated digital trends in a way and really highlighted the benefit of using digital products. So I think, for us to be collaborating at this time post-COVID, where Property Tribes is very much about mitigating risk, working very, very efficiently, being prepared for another lockdown or something of that nature, some unexpected curveball. I think digital products really come into their own now. So timing-wise, I think it's fantastic.
I guess like any business, when it did first happen, we all looked around and asked ourselves, what's this going to mean for us? Actually, kind of like you said, we're so fortunate because we're a digital first product and because we can work from anywhere. We've been able to continue operations, and actually, because this is the time when landlords need to know, about their rent being paid, probably more than any time in the last decade. Actually, it's something that landlords probably need more now than ever, and we're trying to do everything we can to help with that. We have actually, even in this period, had a side project called SOS Supplies, where we helped like hospitals and charities get hold of PPE equipment. So we just acted as a non-profit that we did on the side, as like a charitable enterprise. But it's just another example of the ways that the coronavirus has shaped the last 6 months of Hammock in probably ways we didn't really expect.
Well, it's really admirable that you've done that. That's brilliant. Tell us a little bit about the kind of genesis of Hammock, because you mentioned Manoj as the founder. Manoj was actually a landlord himself, and it was really as simple as, one day he thought, actually, my spreadsheets, my post-it notes, my emails, they're all getting a bit too much. What can I do in a digital format to make landlord life easier? It was really as simple as that, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I can't take any credit for the idea. That was all Manoj. But I mean, from the moment I first met Manoj in early 2019, that was one of the first things he told me, was like how he'd come up with this, and basically the light bulb kind of went for him when I think it's mid 2018. He's got quite a large portfolio, but he's also working really hard, and he was basically going through his bank statements, then updating a spreadsheet. I think he was a couple of months behind because he hadn't updated it, which I'm sure is a feeling that lots of landlords are familiar with. And then he's just suddenly sitting there thinking, my bank has all of this information already. Why aren't they doing more for me? And luckily for Manoj, not only did he have that idea, but he's lucky enough to be uniquely positioned, I guess, to take advantage, because he has spent most of the last 10 years working as a CTO in both financial institutions, but also in the property sector, working with crowdfunding platforms for property, and also one of the UK's biggest online estate agents. So he kind of was he had the technical skills and the industry knowledge, I guess, to kind of turn this into a reality. And then, fast forward now, we're mid 2020 and about to launch the UK's first current account for landlords.
Well, fantastic, because there are three kind of main elements of Hammock. There's the kind of rent collection documentation, there's the kind of expenses and the performance metrics, and then you've just mentioned the third part of this suite of products within Hammock, and that is the current account, and you're just working up to the launch of that now and inviting people to start registering their interest. So tell us a little bit about the current account and what it's going to do for landlords that sign up to it.
Sure. It's a really good point. I guess the best place to start here is to think about your traditional bank account. So, if you walk down the street and pop into Barclays and open an account, really what they give you is somewhere to make and receive payments, and then they give you a balance for the overall account of payments that go in and out. And whilst that's great, it doesn't really speak to the needs of a landlord. No. Because most landlords will then need a secondary tool, whether that's a spreadsheet or a piece of software to then make sense of that data. The difference with Hammock is we allow you to assign each of your transactions to a specific tenant, to a property. This then enables you to see your balance on a property by property basis. So for each property in your portfolio, you'll see your income, your expenses, and your profit. And not only that, but it's smart enough that when you track that first rent payment, going forward, Hammock will recognise that and track it for you automatically. So you end up in a situation where not only are we able to give you, split your payments out, but we can do it for you. So that it's actually just ticking along in the background. So you get a text message every time your rent's paid, or we let you know when rent's late. And actually, especially in the time of Corona, if you're in the unfortunate position where some of your tenants are unable to pay or only can partially pay, then we can automatically track your arrears balances for you as well. So you kind of constantly know, exactly where you are financially on all of your tenancies. And in the way that a traditional bank never will, our current account has, every feature of our current account has been designed with the unique needs of a landlord and their property business.
Yeah, no, I noticed that because I was having a little look around earlier before we started the call, and of course there's a dashboard, and really that's the kind of snapshot of across all of your financial issues. Now, the question I had after looking at it, can I put in commercial properties, obviously residential? Can I put in individual HMO rooms, for instance?
Yeah, you can. So, if you can add anything as a property. We even have a landlord who has container units that he rents out, and he tracks them on Hammock as well. So we don't discriminate. You can, and actually, it's interesting you say about HMOs. Hammock is really popular with HMOs because our pricing model, probably uniquely to any other, let's say, property management software, we charge per property rather than per tenancy. So actually, Hammock is really cheap if you're an HMO landlord. Trial,
which we should point out, and we do encourage PT members to take the free trial. If you're somebody like me, I've been with Natwest since I was 18, and I'm not going to say how many decades that is because it's a lot. I'm kind of stuck with them for better or worse. Do I have to give up my Natwest bank account to start using Hammock?
No, you definitely don't. So we are really, really excited about the launch of the current account. Hammock is operating right now and has been for months using open banking. Right. What that means is you connect your existing bank account to Hammock securely, and we can take up to 3 years of your transactions, and then you can start tracking those payments in exactly the same way. When you first track a rent payment from your bank feed, the first thing Hammock will do is it will look back through your previous transactions and find any other payments from that same tenant, to make it really fast to kind of complete your past payments, and then moving forward it will track automatically just the same way as it would with the current account. Also, one of the big advantages that a lot of our landlords tell us is that maybe they use different bank accounts for different properties. So they might have a Natwest account for these two, a Barclays account for these two, or maybe they're all in different limited companies. What Hammock allows you to do is you can connect as many bank accounts as you like. So you can connect all 3, 4, 5 and see all of your transactions as one feed. So you've only got to go to one place. If you want to, you can still click on each individual one, so you only see those transactions. But ultimately, it enables you to consolidate in a way that means you don't have to log into 4 different apps. And on top of that, even when the current account is live, it's completely optional whether you take it. And actually, for some people, they may even use the 2 in parallel. So you can have your Hammock account and connect 2 other accounts, because maybe you have your mortgage payments going out of there, etc. So we're completely agnostic. We just want to make it as easy as possible for you. And then also, even if you have some transactions that aren't in any of your accounts, so maybe you get paid in cash or some other payment, you can add those manually as well. So it really does give you that freedom.
These all sound like really powerful USPs. They really do. Will the Hammock account just function like a normal account? Will I get a debit card to go with it?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. So you can you make ingoing and outgoing payments just the same way. You can set up payees. You'll get your Hammock debit card, which has been beautifully designed. We're really excited about that as well. But yeah, so it works exactly the same way, and I say sits alongside all your existing ones.
And I think it's absolutely so important to say that Manoj himself, the founder, was a landlord, because I think that's what really makes Hammock stand out to me, is that it's by landlords for landlords, and landlords do have very specific banking requirements that this addresses. So I think it's going to be very welcomed by the community. I guess is there anything else that we can talk about that Hammock does things that other bank accounts or software systems along these lines that they do?
So it's a really good question. I think the key thing that all of our users always come back to, we speak to our users regularly, as any young company should do. The message is always the same. It's like, we love Hammock because it's so simple to use. So simplicity is kind of where we start with everything. And I think there's a lot of tools out there that maybe take a different approach. They give you every type of functionality that's possible in the world, and then you find that landlords use 10% of it. What we've tried to do is focus on the core things that all landlords need, make it really simple to use, really quick and accessible. And actually, it sounds funny, but some users even say it's fun. Like they enjoy tracking. They enjoy how clever it is when they track one rent payment and it finds all the others. So I think simplicity is a key one. I think beyond that, our key focus is really in 3 areas. We want to, as a landlord, we want to save you time, we want to save you money, and we want to give you financial insights effectively. And so if I think of, in terms of saving time, I'm just going to take one of our users who has been with us, quite near since the start. He told me he used to spend 3 hours a week. He's got quite a large portfolio. He used to spend 3 hours a week going through all his finances and spreadsheets and bank accounts. He now has got that down to 15 minutes a week, which he generally does from his phone or his iPad. The same guy said that every year, January would roll around and he'd get the same chasing emails from his accountant saying, hey, send me your bank statements, we've got to get this tax return in. And then this year, so 2020, about mid-April, he sent his Hammock itemized tax statement to his accountant, who I think when he got the email, nearly fell off his chair, and was just like, what's happened? Who is this? Who is this John? And what have you done with my client? And essentially it was all because he's like, because Hammock's been running in the background, it's done. So why wait? And he's filed his, and he has no more stress. He doesn't have to worry about that now. And for his accountant was immediately on the phone to him saying, hey, can you introduce me to Hammock? Because I want to get some of my other clients on there. So I mean, across the board, we are saving people time. In terms of saving money, I've got countless examples of landlords who told me that it's only when they've connected their account and gone through it on Hammock that they realised that they had some missing payments, which sounds crazy, but when people are really busy and it's passive income and maybe they've got a big portfolio, you'd be surprised how many can slip through. So finding people, saving them hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of pounds in missed payments. And then in terms of insights, it's funny, we were talking earlier about Manoj's kind of light bulb moment. Part of that whole journey of him discovering Hammock was when he was going through his accounts, and I say he's got a portfolio, but he'd never really gone down and worked it out on a property by property basis. And then he finally did and realized that one of his properties was making a loss every year. And that then enabled him to effectively sell that property and invest it somewhere else where one of his other properties was doing much better. So it's that kind of granular data that allows you to make really good business decisions, as well as just like making your life easier. This is actually going to help you from a business point of view as well.
No, definitely. I think what you've been saying, James, is that Hammock, in my opinion, it ticks all the boxes that's going to encourage landlords away from their old analog ways of doing things. Because, as we started off the call, COVID has really highlighted weak business models, lack of business professionality, etc. This is such an easy way to professionalize your business, get your portfolio under control, manage it. And landlords typically, and we've discussed this outside of this call, haven't we, that landlords typically are quite stuck in their ways, quite resistant to change, very much in digital terms, I would say that they are. And I think at Hammock, you've done all the things that are going to encourage landlords to take that jump across to these digital tools, because, instant gratification is one thing. And you just mentioned, as soon as you hook up your bank account, it automatically starts populating and giving you insights. So, and also simplicity is so important, but also, just neat little features like, if you've got a tenant on a rent repayment plan, you can see their outstanding arrears, on your dashboard for that property. And again, I've had a tenant during COVID that went on to 50% rent for 3 months and then had to make up payments. And this month they didn't make an overpayment to bring those arrears down. So little things like that, as you say, you can easily, lose track, particularly when there's a lot of stress around, like, lockdown and what everybody was going through personally. So I think that's really exciting about Hammock. And I think we should just talk a little bit about the collaboration as well, because Property Tribes and Hammock, we both promote this digital first approach, and you want to be part of the educational information streams on Property Tribes as well. You're going to be supporting the community, answering questions, showing them how Hammock can help solve problems.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I kind of touched on this earlier. We're still a really young company. We're moving really fast, but we still have lots to learn as well. So one thing that we sort of pride ourselves on more than almost anything is being there for our customers. I have like personal relationships with a lot of them actually, and so we're kind of always there to help. But then in the same way, they're helping us as well, because we get incredible insights, and they help us shape the product going forward. So I think spending time with your community, whilst we hope we can be as helpful as possible to your landlords, I'm sure your landlords will also be helping us a ton in exchange. So really looking forward to it actually.
No, I think it's really good to get community feedback, because in a way it's kind of like live R&D, isn't it? You can see what landlords are finding useful, any little extras they want added, etc. I think it's really, really useful. So we're very excited to have Hammock joining us here at Property Tribes. We are really just presenting Hammock today to give you an overview of what the software does, but also just to give you the heads up that the account is coming, and we do encourage everybody to register their interest in the account, don't we, James?
We certainly do. Yes, that is it. That would be great.
All right. So this is just really the first introduction to Hammock. We'll be having future interviews with them in the coming months, and you'll see them around on Property Tribes. If you've got any questions for James and his team, please drop them on the thread below this. Please share your feedback. We really do encourage that. Really, I guess what we're doing, James, between all of us and all of the prop and fintech, is we're creating a really great ecosystem for landlords to work within to really create efficiencies, time saving, maybe even save money, and really just have a much easier landlord life.
100%. I say it's funny you were saying about landlords not really liking change. I've lost track of the number of landlords I've spoken to who considered themselves a dinosaur when it comes to technology, at least, and then they start using Hammock and they love it. I got people who tell me they manage it all from their phone now. So so I think being part of this relationship with Property Tribes, we're super excited. We love you guys. You already know that, and you offer an amazing service to a community that actually is quite underserved by a lot of things, by tech, by government policy, etc. So and anything we can do to help make people's lives a bit easier across the whole spectrum is something we're really excited about.
James, you'll also, for portfolio landlords, you'll do a free personal demo as well. You can arrange that, can't you?
Yeah, so we do live demos. We also do live onboarding calls over Zoom where we can actually help you set up your own account. And actually, if you have a really large portfolio and you'd rather send us the data, we can also preload your account for you. So just get in touch, let us know what you need, and we can help.
Well, there you go. That's Hammock, and I think the name's so appropriate because you can just chill out and relax and manage all your landlord financial activities from one place. So we'll be hearing more from Hammock in the coming months. But for now, I just say thank you to James for joining me on this Zoom call, and do drop any questions you have below the thread, and look out for Hammock around Property Tribes. But for now, thank you very much, and join us again soon on Property Tribes TV. Thank you, James.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.